Hello everyone, we have already heard too much about Vue.js. So in this video we are going to explore that. It is a progressive JavaScript, which means you can use it as a library and as a full-fledged framework as well. It's approachable, you can, because it's built on top of HTML, CSS and JavaScript. It's performant because it's truly reactive and compiler optimized rendering system it provides. So let's get started. There are two approaches to use this: options and composition approach. Option is basically their older approach, wherein you define reactive fields in data and then you define methods in methods, and then lifecycle hooks can be provided like this. Whereas the other approach, composition, is similar to industry approach like React. So here you can import reactive ref to create any reactive state, and you can define any methods, and you can define lifecycle hooks, and you can this so as per them, like options approach is better if you are only using it as a library, and if you are using it as a whole, then go ahead with the composition approach. And they have different approaches to their tutorial. We'll try the tutorial. So this is the first part where they allow you to try options or compositions and HTML based or SFC. SFC is basically a single file having HTML, CSS and JavaScript all in single file. Next is the declarative rendering. So there are two ways for reactivity in this, and they provide declarative rendering for that as well. So first approach is like, let's say you want to use counter and you do reactive, and here you can simply import reactive and you can use this counter. And if you want to log this, you can say counter dot count, and if you want to update this, you can simply say counter plus plus, and here you can say I am reactive based field. Okay, and if you want to use any variable here, you can use double braces, which is, so if you see, it's giving whole, and here you want counter, right? Similarly, there is another approach which is like you can create reactive fields with ref. Let's say you say hello world, and here you say console.log message dot value. Here you would have to access property on value, because it's not, it's a proxy created. It's basically a signal based approach, which is fine grained reactivity we call. And here you can use message dot value, and you can see, when you do this proxy based approach, framework would have a fine grained control of updating that particular DOM element itself rather than updating everything. So I am ref based field, and here we can say again message dot value. But if you are using it in a template, you don't need to use dot value. If you use, it won't work, and if you do this, it works. Similarly, like if you want to and this is an interpolation operator. So if you are using this double curly braces, it does not only allow variables, you can use any JavaScript expression. So for example, if you want to do this, you can do this, and if you want to reverse, you could reverse, and then you could join it back, right? So that's the thing. And similarly, there is attribute binding. So if you want to bind something, so you can use v dot bind and colon, and then particular thing. So let's say this is a class, and here you can pass a variable. So in this case, let's say this is a variable title class, and it is referencing a title, and then on title this is being assigned. And if you want shorten version of it, you can replace all of this with colon, it would work. Similarly, if you want event listener, you can use v dot on, and then click, and you do this. Let's say increment is our function, and here we say function increment, and here we simply say count dot value plus plus, right? And here if you do this, it works. And the shortened version of this event handler is at the rate, and it works with it as well. Similarly, if you want to bind, this is the input and this is the output, and if you don't want to use this approach, you can use shorten approach, whereas you can use v hyphen model, and it would directly attach two-way bind to text itself. So if you try this or this approach, both works. In this you are putting input and then output is being updated to input, whereas in other way you just two-way bind it, similar to Angular. So that's a V model, and then there is a conditional rendering. So let's say this is a toggle and we want to conditionally render it, so we can say toggle value and is equals to awesome dot value, right? You can toggle with this. Now if I say v if and we put this awesome, because we don't need to use value, and with this it works. And similarly if you do v else, and it works. Similarly you can use v else if. Similarly you have this v for, which is for iterating to dos, and here similar to v, this is a v bind for key, and you need to assign key similar to react, so that it can identify to basically update that particular element only. And now if we want to add a to-do list, we can update it in to-do list. So let's say we say to-do dot value dot, and we would use push, and here we would say id plus plus, and then text could be new to-do dot value. So if I say Anuj Singh, let's say, it works, right? Similarly if we want to remove this, we can simply say, we can simply deduce id from this, and once we have id, we can simply say to-dos dot value is equals to to-dos dot value dot filter, and it would be item dot id is not equals to id. With this you would be able to remove that particular element only. So this is their v for. And similarly, like v model we have already covered, and you can you could have either here you could have done this on click, and you could have used this, or you could have used shortened version like this. But there is also a form submission. You can use submit.prevent to get this done. This is a better approach because it can, like, even if you have multiple fields, it would always listen on top of it, right? And next there is a computed property. So let's say there is add to do, remove to do, and you are doing this, and this is a to do. And let's say we do filter item, const filtered to do's, and here we say computed, and computed is nothing but, let's say we return, or we say this return to do's dot value. Okay, if we do this, and here we would do this, right? So this is a computed, and now we need to filter. We would filter the item if this hide completed. So there are two cases. If hide completed is true, then we would show item dot done, not done. If otherwise, if hide completed is false, then we would show all, right? Now we need to import computed as well. With this, if we say Anuj, we are done, and if we do this, hide completed is not sing, let's say. Okay, and if we do this, it's gone, but this is not working somehow. So this is a filtered to do's, and then this is a filter to do's, and then there is a hide completed. If hide completed, okay, this would be dot value, because it's again this, right? So if you do this, see, you're able to do this, right? So this is basically simple computed function, which if any of these to do changes or hide completed changes, then it updates accordingly. So this is the computed property. Next, we would cover lifecycle and template refs. So if there is any p tag and you want to reference this, first you create a reference with some name, and same name you would assign to here on the ref with this. Here you have put a null because it is not created before it is mounted. It is only available once it is mounted. So if you want to basically check it, you can check it once it's mounted. Once it's mounted, to check it, you can say p element, let's say dot value dot text content, and we can say I am changed, right? And this is a ref, and unmounted is not defined, correct? So we define unmounted and changed is here, right? Next is watcher. It's similar to React effects. So let's say this is a to-do ID, this is a to-do data, and then you call fetch data first time and it updates to-do data based on to-do ID. So similarly, you can put a watcher, and watcher you need to import it from Vue, and here you can simply say I want to watch to do item, and if it changes then it needs to return a callback, and then here we could do fetch data. You can simply do this, and with this, see, it works. And the better approach could be to pass ID directly here and then make it work, but that's no worry, that's the watcher. You could make any side effect like logging ID or making a API call. Any side effects you plan to do, you can do it here. Next is a component. If you want to use components imported, so let's say this is a component, a child component, so you can simply import it here. So import child component from, and you could say child comp dot move, and once you've imported it, you could simply use it, like similar to React, right? Similarly, if you have a component, you can use any props which uses define props, and here you can define the props. Let's say it's message, you can directly use message if you are using in template, and if you are using it here, you would have to use through props only. So like this, no props area is passed it, and if you plan to pass it from here, as it is waiting for message, so here you would do v bind and message is equals to, and you can pass your variable here, right? And to make it small, you can do this. Similarly, the way you can pass value to it, you can emit value from child as well. Similar, it looks similar to Angular. Here you define emits, which is a response, and here you emit that particular event, and this is the data. So this is a template, let's say, and here child comes, so it can say v on, and here it can say it is waiting for response, and in response it would simply do this, it would receive the message and it would update it on this, right? So child message dot value is not used here, you can simply do this. So hello from child, so it is here hello from child 2, right? This works. Next is there is a concept of slot. If you pass something from here, I am slot, that can be accessed here with the slot, which takes a fallback content. If slot is not passed, then this is shown, otherwise that particular value is shown. So that was a whole Vue.js. We have covered everything that's basic core of it: declarative rendering, attribute binding, event listeners, form binding, which is two-way binding, conditional rendering, list rendering, computer properties, lifecycle and template refs, vouchers, which is similar to effects, components, props, emits, and slots. So yeah, that was all for Vue.js. Thank you.